let's go ahead and watch this video. This is from the big beautiful channel themselves, BBC News. This is about Orban. So in Hungary, for those unaware, there was an election yesterday, and apparently Victor Orban lost to Peter Magyar, I guess. I don't really know anything about that guy, but I have to assume that he's better than Orban. So let's go ahead and watch this video by the BBC and see what they have to say.
Opposition supporters in Hungary have been partying late into the night after a landslide election victory that swept the country's long-term Prime Minister Victor Orban from power. The man who'll become Hungary's next Prime Minister, Peter Magyar, has hailed the result as a miracle in Hungarian history. He told his supporters they'd taken back Hungary together and toppled the system of Victor Orban. The Prime Minister-elect also promised a peaceful transition to his supporters. Earlier, Mr. Orban, who's led Hungary for 16 years, said the party would continue to serve the nation from the opposition.
I'm a little bit surprised that he, because he was very much an authoritarian in the same way that Donald Trump is. Maybe, I wonder, I don't know what the margins are. Maybe they'll get into it, but maybe it was just such a blowout that he couldn't pretend like there is some sort of election fraud or whatever.
Benches. Well, let's get all the latest now from Budapest, and we can join my colleague Rajini Vaidyanathan. Rajini, let's talk about mood there first of all, because it is a new era beginning in Hungary.
Indeed, a little bit of a tired era for many people that I've encountered on the streets of Budapest this morning, because the city really did come to life. There were tens of thousands of supporters of the opposition leader, the Prime Minister-elect now, Peter Magyar, who'd gathered on the banks of the River Danube to celebrate a real moment in history. Now, I'm joining you, Anita, in front of the country's National Assembly, the Parliament building here, and the makeup of that has completely changed overnight now. You've got Magyar, who's only led his opposition TISA party for 2 years, now the next Prime Minister of this country. And here's another staggering thing to just soak up. The TISA party, 24 hours ago, had no members of the Parliament here. Now they have 133. So that really does give you a sense of how much we are seeing change. Now, as I was saying just then, I was on the banks of the river opposite the National Assembly building as those results were coming in. There was a real sense.
So I guess I'm just looking this up or whatever right now. The TISA party is considered a conservative center to center right European populist party, is what it sounds like. So I wouldn't guess that these are like that this person or like that this group is going to be, you know, is going to usher in a new era of prosperity or anything for the people of Hungary. If I had to guess, there's probably, I would assume that there's going to be just as much, you know, like normal capitalist shenanigans of like trying to eviscerate the working class. They're probably, I mean, maybe not quite as much, but I think that they might consider themselves a little bit more liberal too as well, but who knows? We'll see how they govern. But
jubilation and of celebration. People knew that there might be a change, that the party might do well. They'd seen the opinion polls. But then when the actual results started to come in, when we saw Victor Orban make that concession speech, the mood really did shift. And what was interesting, certainly in urban centres like Budapest, is just how much Hungary's relationship with the European Union had a role. Let's have a listen to some of the people that I spoke to.
I'm so emotional. This is history, you know. I'm so happy that, you know, we can remain a part of Europe. You know, that was a choice between Europe and Asia, and now Hungary showed really that we want to be a part of Europe. We are a European country, and we want to remain here. It is something.
Why was this between Europe and Asia? I don't quite understand that dynamic. Was Orban like, what was he? Cozying up to China or something? I don't think that's the case, right? I thought Orban was relatively aligned with Trump in America.
I think we've been waiting for our whole life. As young generation, we are incredibly happy and proud right for Hungary that we showed today that we belong to Europe and we will belong to Europe.
Well, let's pick up on that thought, Regini. I mean, why was Peter Magyar the man for this moment, and what exactly will it mean for the relationship with the rest of Europe and indeed other parts of the world too? Lots to consider.
Yeah, indeed. It's a really interesting question, isn't it, Anita? Because Hungary is a small country in landlocked Europe, the centre of the continent, and population of less than 10 million. And yet you have the Kremlin, the White House, European capitals all watching this race really closely. There were many people who felt that Prime Minister Victor Orban's relationship with people like Russia's Vladimir Putin was just too close and too cosy. And on the other hand, they felt that the relationship he had with the European Union, which is at times antagonistic, it wasn't that cordial, was it, on things like the issue of Ukraine.
Yeah, well, he's just like Trump. He's literally just their version of Trump. Like, Trump also has an appreciation for Vladimir Putin or for North Korea, Kim Jong-un or whatever, right? Like he does have that appreciation for anybody who is who just has a stranglehold on their country as a unique individual figure. And so, but I don't really see if this new party is a center-right conservative party, like they might cozy up with the EU a little bit more, but the fundamental like forces of geopolitics are going to remain, I think, relatively unchanged regardless. Like, I guarantee you Orban wasn't going to like align Hungary with Russia, right? Like, because Hungary is like a part of the EU and is going to behave like a vassal to the United States, whether it's Orban or this new guy who is there. I don't really think the only thing that I think will change for the positive will be the domestic politics of Hungary. I don't think their foreign policy is going to change that much. But I do think that like Orban, from what I remember, and I'd have to go back and look up the stories, I think that he did a lot of like bad shit when it came to like, you know, gay rights, like LGBTQ stuff. I think they like criminalized it or something. If I remember correctly. As of April 2025, Hungarian government by Viktor Orban has passed significant constitutional amendments and laws that ban public LGBTQ plus events, forbid the depiction or promotion of homosexuality to minors, and allow the use of facial recognition technology to identify attendees of prohibited events. So yeah, like so there was shit like that. But so I think that the domestic lives of Hungarians will improve somewhat from this, but not foreign policy, and I don't know if their material conditions will improve that much from this new party, but we'll see.
Needed a reset, and that's certainly what Prime Minister-elect Peter Magyar is hoping to do, hoping to reset that relationship. We've seen responses and messages from people like the EU's Ursula von der Leyen and France's President Emmanuel Macron as well, saying that this does mark the start of a new chapter between Hungary and the EU.
OK, Regini, thank you very much for that. Regini Vaidyanathan there in Budapest. And let's speak now to Paul Adamson, founder of Encompass, an online magazine dedicated to covering the European Union and Europe's place in the world. Paul, welcome to the programme. And as elections go, this one must be surely one of the most consequential for the shape of the European Union and Europe's place in the world.
Absolutely, it's quite mind-boggling the extent to which this victory is going to change the landscape of the EU relations. I mean, as we all know by now, Hungary for the past 16 years, if not more, has been a major blocking power inside the European Union and been able to stifle progress on a whole range of issues, from sanctions packages, aid packages to Ukraine, etc., etc.
That is true. I forgot about that. I do believe that the EU has potentially been blocked from like doing certain things that require like unanimous decision making because of Orban that this group may potentially do. If they are just more standard neocon or like neoliberal or whatever, they will probably start sending like more arms to Ukraine and that sort of stuff, as opposed to Orban, which may have been more isolationist in some regard. I don't know for sure though. But we'll see when, like, when rubber hits the road, like if they will govern from a foreign policy perspective differently or not.
Is now all going to stop thanks to this new election.
At the end of the day, even Victor Orban, if he wanted to be even if he wanted to be an isolationist, he was still at the mercy of America as America's vassal to do whatever America wants. So if America wants you to keep sending arms to Ukraine, then you're going to keep sending arms to Ukraine. I think that's more the thing that matters.
Election victory of Peter Magyar.
Yeah, and Germany, I notice, has been saying it hopes the EU Ukraine aid will be released very quickly after this result. Viktor Orban most recently had blocked 90 billion euros of aid to Ukraine. Russia, on the other hand, is saying it looks for a continuation of a pragmatic relationship with Hungary. So where do you think, in the middle of those two hopes, will Peter Magyar sit?
Well, it's no secret that Putin has had an unofficial ally around the Council of EU member states table, basically making sure that Orban, when he was prime minister, did Moscow's bidding. That will now change. Obviously, Putin has to sound more pragmatic, more diplomatic. He's lost a key ally inside the European Union in the shape of Viktor Orban. That now has to change. He has to rethink his strategy. And for him, it's a major card is no longer at his disposition.
Give us an insight into why Peter Magyar's political approach has changed, because, of course, he was an insider in Viktor Orban's party previously. So why has that happened? And what does that mean more broadly for the right of politics in Europe?
Well, I suppose we should not forget that originally the new prime minister was from the Fidesz party, the ruling party, and he is on the right of centre. But as you just heard from both your reporter and the people you're interviewing in the streets of Budapest, Hungary is fundamentally a pro-European country, especially amongst the young population. And Peter Magyar was elected to the European Parliament just under 2 years ago. So he knows where the direction of travel is for his country and for Europe. And he wants to be part of that mainstream majority.
So more a sign of pragmatism for him in terms of getting to a position of power rather than an ideological belief?
Well, I think, to be fair, most heads of government, heads of state in Europe are recalibrating what it means to be a member of this club called the European Union. It's going through a pretty much fundamental rethink about what it's about, what it needs to achieve, what its goals.
Okay, well, yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over that because that's pretty big news in world politics. So